Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle Show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle Show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle Show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle Show. Yeah.
So obviously, dude, this week's epic WIP is going to be the belle of the ball, the main topic that we're going to focus on. But we probably also have to talk about Async.Art shutting things down, winding that down. That was the other like massive news that happened this week, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh man, it's it's weird, right? It feels like they've just been such a like steady presence in the space that you could always count on to bring something innovative and interesting to the table, like whatever they were cooking up and everything. And we've known Conlan and No Shot like forever. It's two of the bigger brains around here. Actually, No Shot did probably not a lot of people know this, did the image for our podcast. Cover and everything. But I don't know, man, it's a sad one. I feel like a lot of this is happening, man. It's sort of weird. I feel like we've got vibes like the market, there's sort of like a rumbling general sense of like, hey, maybe, we made the analogy a couple weeks ago, like, maybe we are really at the bottom of the hockey stick and things are looking up. But I feel like we're also seeing a lot of people just feel like they, my assumption, and I'm sure I could be wrong, but is that, people just running out of runway, and that's been, happened to a lot of people. It's been a tough market for a very long time. Yeah, man, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's one of those flagship projects that shutting down, I think, hurts everyone, right? And there's been this outpouring from artists and collectors alike of how inspiring Async.Art has been. They've had some historical projects go through them. Last Supper is that collab piece, their first piece that was kind of put them on the map and exploded people's minds in terms of the possibility of like these dynamic layered works. But then X-Copy Grifters is super iconic. Matt Cain, his Right Place and Right Time project that he released. Micah Johnson's Severante was a legendary collection. The homie Connie Digital released some collections on there, the digital CDs of his, right? There's almost too many to list, right? There's so much history there. And I guess as sad as it is that they're wrapping up, like all of that history is tokenized, and all those projects have been living on and will live on and kind of act as like inspirational fertilizer, if you will, to help inspire like the next generation of builders on the dev side of things, and then the artists on the other side. So I think that as sad as it is, still very glass half full. But what you're talking about, like a new bleeding edge startup, is a very, very tricky thing to manage. And even if you're doing things good and well enough, that may not be good enough to really stick around and last. I mean, thinking back to Scent and some of the reasons why we didn't explode like we did in the Bull is because of some missteps. Like we didn't do everything perfectly like we should have. And the gap there can seem super thin and just like, you want to kind of kill yourself because of from when we kind of like started folding things up or like things going in a different direction. It was literally like half a year before everything exploded. And with Async.Art, I feel like it's not, like you're saying, not that far away from a change in the market. But but it also highlights too, like it was complicated early on. Like when they started in February or January of 2020, like that was pre-Bull, and they were making good moves, good projects, and then the bull happened. But a lot of people still didn't understand async art and like what programmable art meant, one, and then like gas costs at that time kind of fucked up the whole interactive element of the layers, because in order to change a layer back in the day, you needed to pay gas. And when the bull happened, everything got so expensive. And it was a while before that was fixed. And by then, everyone was focused on shiny PFPs. So that's where like blueprints came in, and that was definitely really cool. But they started maybe getting away from the crazy Harry Potter inspirational art side of things into other domains where, I mean, frankly, like the outputs from like art blocks on the generative side of things to me have always been more interesting than a lot of the outputs on some of the blueprints projects for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think that probably had something to do with it, like looking back and reflecting on any potential reason why they shut things down. But yeah, definitely very, very sad day.
Yeah, man. I mean, to your point, man, there's just so much history in that project in general. And I got to do a thing on it at the end there, man. You know, their final supper piece and everything that you can cycle in and everything. And truly felt like a LARP, like because of the history in that spot, and feel like slightly less of a LARP now, but feel like that's a badge of honor, honestly, man, and felt like it at the time. I was like, oh shit, man, this makes me feel like my the shit I've been making has some credibility because of all of the stuff that's gone through that place, man. Just legends, like, you know, through and through, with all of the different experiments that they've done, like, you know, some hit more than others and everything, but like they always had a lot of like very strong community support. But it does feel like, man, the landscape has changed like so much, right? And if you think like, you know, within the context of like, you know, I think anyone who's around has like a default assumption that, you know, whether it's sooner or later, the next bull run is going to happen at some point. Otherwise, like, you know, I don't think a lot of people would be here if they didn't think the space was going to continue to grow. And so, but the landscape is just so much different, right? They're like the projects that are around, are, you know, have changed a lot, and a lot of projects have died out. A lot of new ones have come onto the scene. The overall vibe is just like, you know, a lot different across the board. You got a lot of experienced people who have been through a few of these cycles now with, like, you know, some perspective on the whole thing. And yeah, so, and circling back to what you're saying, man, they were like a very, very early project. Like, you know, when there weren't even like really a lot of very well organized NFT related projects out there. You know, that I feel like they were back in the time when, you know, we were summing up like everything that happened in the NFT scene in, you know, a week, or something like that. So
like 2 or 3 months before Nifty Gateway relaunched as their marketplace too. Like they were early. Yeah,
and you know, they outlasted a lot, to their credit. And you know, I'm Conlan and No Shot are like so smart, right? And you know, I feel like, you know, again, glass half full. Like, I look for, if they felt like, you know, this direction wasn't getting them to where they thought it was going to be or wanted it to be, like, you know, I hope they take the same like spirit of innovation that got them this far and like apply it in some like really dope way. You know, I have no doubt, but I'm excited to see what the minds over there, you know, once they go separate ways, start cooking up next.
Yeah, no, 100%. And to just going back in time real quick one more time, like, this was a project that was born out of like Scent DMs and the whole Scent experience and early CryptoVoxels experiences, right? Like the concept of programmable art, like people being able to impact and change what other people are seeing in the image. Like, those are conversations that were born on Scent, and it kills me that it wasn't able to live on. I mean, all the work will, but I wish the project was there just a little more, just so we have more of like that that big connection with Scent back in the day with folks like doing it on that scale. But no doubt that they're going to come back and do something awesome heading forward. Conlan's a mad genius, and No Shot is a design genius and just so thoughtful with everything that he does. And the other members of the project that we got to meet over there's Achilles comes to mind as someone that was an amazing person to work with across so many different WIPs, right? Like Sam Bruckman back in the day when he was at Async.Art was another incredible person that spearheaded like the music side of things and like that crazy experimentation. And there's another name that I'm forgetting right now. She was awesome to work with, but what was her name? She's also an artist, and she worked with like Pop Wonder on a couple projects. It's killing me.
Is it Breadbreaker?
Not Breadbreaker.
Yeah, this is a good gap.
We like the gaps. What up, Trislit?
I know. Hey,
Dude,
that was a great call out. That was amazing. Async.Art, man. So much history
Yeah.
with some of us. Yeah, I look up to him because he did something crazy and he just did it, which is, you can be smart, talented, whatever. It's like, it's that extra whatever that lets you actually run through and do something with it. And that's what he has, which is more than just being smart.
100%. I shot him a DM. I want him to come on the WIP and just kind of have the community catharsis with everyone.
I talked to him a little bit about that because he was asking about the WIP, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll ping him again. All right, fucking found it. Dude, Terra Naomi. Terra Naomi was a killer. She was amazing to work with for past WIPs, and she's just kind of another brilliant mind. So, again, sort of like Scent. People that pass through and are able to kind of contribute to like legendary projects, I think will all go on to have storied careers and influence the space in really cool ways. So, yeah,
dude, I feel like that. What's gonna happen, man? I feel like if long enough continuum, I'm like, all right, not. There's really no one else out there who is doing what Async does, right? Like early and to this day, and maybe that was partially to their detriment that they were like so far off in their own like sort of bracket, and did some experiments to try and get closer towards like what was catching on and everything. But I feel like eventually someone's gonna come back around and streamline and do something very similar to what Async does, and everyone's just gonna eat it up, right? And they're gonna be like, oh my god, this is the most incredible thing, and everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck? Async was doing this like so early on, like way before anybody else, and this is just like a knockoff of what like was already done. And I feel like they're like a lot of early projects, man. I feel like and a lot of early innovators, man, are sort of victims of being almost too far out in front with some of their ideas, and it's not because their ideas aren't incredible. It's just it's just hard to serve up like really interesting, innovative stuff to people who sort of have their comfort lanes.
I mean, it's not for nothing that one of the largest pitfalls of early startups is being too early, right?
Yeah.
That can mean a lot of things, but like especially in our context, a lot of times it's just a very subtle way that you market it, and the mind share that you're able to build with folks like early on just you may not have enough minds to build mind share in one. But also, like, the minds in the space just may not be ready for it yet until they are. And that distinction and like the before and after can seem so trivial and so like, what the fuck? Like Async had been shouting from the rooftops and the rafters for years. Like, why didn't you get it before then? But that's just sometimes how fucking life happens. It's one of those things that you just see, observe, and kind of shake your head out, really roll your eyes, and be like, well, "How is that possible?" But it is. It's like reality.
No, it's interesting to I feel like the space is old in a lot of ways now. Like many years of projects and history in the space that we have as reference points, and it's interesting what a lot of the projects that have stuck around from early days have done and have had to do to survive, and I feel like one of those things is just being able to like adapt with the changing landscape and everything, and like not everyone agrees with the decisions that certain projects have made. We talked about the whole thing with like Matt Cain and Super Rare, and like some of the decisions that they've made, like them or not or whatever, but some of them have been like if you take them at face value for the sustainability of the project and everything. And I feel like it gets tough, man. The space expanded, so rapidly, and then contracted again so rapidly. That you just see a lot of people being put in positions where it's like, do you compromise everything? Do you just fold and start anew? And I feel like it's a shame that they've shut down, but I feel like from start to finish, man, Async is like one of those projects that is will always like maintain its integrity in the space. It just sort of sucks that they didn't make it.
Yeah, that's the rub, and I think that's what I'm expecting as well too.
Yeah. However, man, we have made it at the WIP, dude. We're in terms of like longevity. We'll make like a hard transition point, but we should like talk about our dope shit, because we're on like a nice little uptick in attendance and attention, and it seems like we're about to hit a high point this week.
Yeah, shout out to all the Anon snails out there that are that have kind of taken our wish list of prizes, collected them, and have them ready to distribute to folks that hit up the WIP this Thursday. Should we start with like just the prizes and like all of that first, and then get into all the details of the show? I think that's probably like the best way to hook folks.
Yeah. And let's not give away too much of like what's actually going on. Let's keep it like nice and cryptic or whatever. But we should definitely tease it. But in terms of like trick or treats, man, we got some treats.
Yeah, we got like three large buckets of treats. Basically, we have a bucket of VRM avatars. We got the DI's Legends by Cody, super premium. So that's definitely.
Let's walk it back for a second, man. Let's clarify, because we also have like a lot of treats outside of the Anon snail treats, but we've got a hefty load of treats coming in specifically from a snail who prefers to remain anonymous. And as ridiculous as this sounds, that's literally what is happening here.
Yeah. It's most of the prizes are from the Anon snail. So the Cody's, we got a WIP avatar, we got a grip of Avastars, which double now as VRMs because Trislit hooked it up, so you can pull those into like Hyperfi and Spatial. And then we have like a VR Land bucket that folks can potentially grab some treats from. We have parcels and land in Hyperfi, of course. Shout out Ash. Cryptovoxels. Shout out Ben and the team. And Upstreet AI, Jin and crew. So folks will be able to get some land and create some builds or craft some experiences, which is sick. And then the art and collectible side, we have a grip of treats for folks to grab. We have an artwork by mlo.art, their most recent project that they released and sold out. Stoked to have that as a grand prize. We have a bunch of Code Trip NFTs and cars. And one of those apparently is like super elitely rare. So that's going to be a grand prize. We got cyber brokers in the mix. We got, of course, meme explorers, meme cards. We got the homie Rizzle and everyone else that built on-chain chain in there. And then we got friendship bracelets because we're all friends, right? By Snowfro and then Alexis Andre. And then we got some goodies that Fabiano Speciades contributed, and then Misfit Pixels too, right?
Yeah, and Stellacat is in the mix as well. So yes, we're gonna be killing some zombies with Misfit Pixels, who is also putting up some prizes. We've got a couple other activities scattered throughout the course of the event. And Fabiano and Patrizia have treats for people as well. So, but there will, like, this is like our Halloween thing. So none of these treats come without like people having to do some sort of like, little trick for it or whatever. And there will be a variety of ways to get things
trick for a treat.
With that,
folks got to be turning tricks for those treats.
Yeah. We're not, I mean, we are giving away stuff for free, but like, you got to do a little something for them. But dude, this is amazing, right? This is like an awesome community. Like literally, this is like the community making it rain on the community, assuming the Anon Snail is like someone who at least like knows about our community and everything. But like this should be a fun one, man. And Fractalians has been at work alongside with Paradox and 9/0, making the WIP Halloween parcel and Hyperfy nice and spooky for the event. So it should be a killer, man. I'm really excited, and it sort of feels like we're like playing like The Price is Right. Like you and I are hosting. We're like Bob Bart or like Pat Sajak and Vanna White or whatever. I don't know. It's just like this is like almost a game show style event with the amount of stuff being given out throughout the course of the whole thing. So if you're listening to this, you should come tomorrow, Thursday. No, I guess depending on when you're listening to this, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, man. It's crazy to think that someone's like, yo, we're going to buy prizes. Like you have like $5,000 worth and we'll give it away for folks that go to the WIP. And we're like, oh yeah, sure. That sounds sick. Can you get these things? And they're like, yeah, word. And they're already scooped. So like $5,000 worth of like crazy prizes that are really aligned with the WIP and everything we've been doing, right? Like leaning into the fun things, like, and by members of the WIP fam themselves, like homies of the WIP that go back years. I love that part. So everyone is sort of winning. This is a great way to highlight the community, and then it's just going to be fucking fun, man. Like you were saying, we have multiple experiences, multiple kind of tricks that people will need to turn in order to get those treats that I think people have a good time with. I'm really, really excited about what Misfit Pixels has created, and we can say zombie shooter game, right?
Yeah, we can say zombie shooter. Yeah. But it's like we've mentioned that a couple times publicly. It's public information. Some zombies will have to die during the course of this event. In the spirit of Halloween or something. Dude, it's exciting, man. I mean, when talking about the size of this, whatever you want to call it, collective of like awesome things being rained upon our audience, I was like, this seems like too much. And the response was, no, it's not. Basically, I'm like paraphrasing. So it is what it is. And the opportunity to do that, man, I feel like this wouldn't happen if people weren't excited about what we were doing. And it in turn makes people more excited about what we're doing, because we're able to put things in our audience's hands that they appreciate and are able to use at the WIP and everything. And it also, we've had Ray sort of jump on board, man. He's put out a couple articles about the WIP lately, and he's all stoked about what we're doing. And Fractalians, I'm so excited to see for people to see what she's been cooking up in the WIP parcel, because she's just stoked to be able to create with us and play a role in what we're doing here and showcase some of her skills as well, which are I showed you and Johan a couple sneak peeks of what she was working on, and both of you had the same response. You're like, yo, is this the WIP parcel? I think one of you said, like, is this Sandbox or something? It's like, completely transformed, and to be able to do that, so quickly. And I don't know, man, it just seems like we're in really exciting times, which juxtaposed with the sort of death of async and everything is sort of like a weird like vibe and everything. But I feel like I don't know, we're scratching at something here, man, and people are really excited about what we've been doing. We've had some inbound from a specific legend who's interested in also helping us out, in addition to the people who have been for such a long time and who have hopped on board recently. So I don't know, man, it's good.
Yeah. And I know in this space there's a lot of like hackneyed phrases that get tossed around, like for the culture being one of those. But this is really a true example of doing something for the culture, right? And like in a big way, in a meaningful way, in a monetary way, right? But still very much that adds, contributes, it grows culture. And I like exactly what you said. It's so cool that folks are they've always we've had the crew, we've had the fam that have taken note, but to have even more people take note and to see the WIP crew potentially grow again with another legend, like you're saying, it's just so fucking cool and so fun to have this going. And life happens. Sometimes things fold and they wind down and pass, right? But then at the same time, life goes on, and you got to celebrate when you can. And tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern at the WIP is one of those times to celebrate.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I feel like the WIP having sort of been this amorphous thing that is just sort of highlighting the community, even as like the community evolves, right? Like whatever Conlan and No Shot end up involved in next, I'm sure that'll end up on the WIP and everything. And I feel like it's one of the things that has kept us in a decent spot, in a respectable position, is that we've there's always something cool going on, and I feel like our ability to highlight that in cool ways is sort of starting to get, I don't know, man, it's very gratifying, honestly, man. I put out the call, but sort of half jokingly, I was like, yo, someone should just give us $1 million, right? Like, look what we could build with the WIP with like a fucking $1 million. Just give it to us. And it didn't happen, man. But and I'm not saying all these people like heard this call, but I feel like we're doing something right, man. Like people are starting to we're galvanizing some sort of like energy, and some money did come in, man. And I wasn't expecting $1 million to come in. I wasn't expecting shit to come in, man. I'm like banging that drum like every week, right? And like give us some money, blah 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 blah, and to be fair, people do throw like a tiny bit of change at us every now and again, not to minimize it, but it's not like $1 million or going to pay anyone like a salary or anything. But for someone to and we don't get any of this money either. So, it didn't accomplish that goal. However, I feel like in a lot of ways, this is, just as good as not as good as us getting $1 million. But this was like an unexpected, like amazing thing to fall into our lap that was like completely unexpected. And I feel like that's been happening a lot lately. And it's exciting, man. I think we put together like a string of really good ones leading up to the holidays and everything. We got like a pretty good history of throwing together some bangers. So I hope this is just like the tip of the iceberg, but it's going to be a big tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. And it's talk about like a clear signal. It's like, hey, like 5K go into the community, like one of maybe for the first of like multiple rounds of this. Who knows, right? But what a fucking lightning strike amidst like, yeah, obviously the negativity of the week and whatever. But like we're steady doing our thing, and it's just getting better. And the benefit for us, like we knew we were super early, and it was just, all right, well, let's power this with passion and just our time investing into this. And we, over time, it's just like, let's keep doing it. I think we're going in the right direction. And then we get signals like this where it's like, okay, people want to throw money at things like this just for the culture, to give back, blah, blah, blah. It's all right, let's keep going. Let's more of this. Yes, please. And thank you. Right. So I'm extremely excited, and I just can't wait for tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I it's that's the one like common thread through a lot of these things, right, man? We were talking about like a week or two ago or whatever, some of these like, sort of cultural beacons that have popped up throughout the years, like Scent being one of them, 01 more recently, and there were like a whole bunch in between, and some earlier than that and everything. But I feel like that, and on the other side, man, so many like really cool, interesting, fascinating projects created by so many cool, fascinating, interesting people, have not, sustained themselves. But, that's sort of what has kept us alive, man. I feel like we've done a pretty good job of like always leaning into the culture, which always finds a place, across like different platforms. But we've always been sort of that platform and able to, tap into that. And I feel like that's the only constant thing in this space, honestly, right? Like everything has to shift from place to place to place constantly. Things pop up, things die. People fall in love with something and it gets broken, or they change the algorithm, or like monetize it in some dumb way, or whatever. But there's always been that like real passionate community like surrounding all of that, and that's really all that we've ever had. Finally we got a home as of like a few months ago and everything, but sort of leaning into that community and what they think is dope. I feel like that being our constant over the years is one of the only things that has longevity in this space, because everything else is sort of a roll of the dice that things change.
Yeah. I mean, there's few, like when we started, like Super Rare, still here, right?
Yeah.
Known Origins changed and morphed. They're no longer what they were. Yeah, like OpenSea is OpenSea, but it is interesting to look around at the landscape and see who was with us when we started, like project wise, and like who's still standing. It's not a lot, but there are like definitely notable instances, and I think that's really important. If it's just us, then that means we're in the wrong place. But because other folks and individuals more particularly, more specifically, we're able to grow roots and stick around here, that gives me even more kind of inspiration and just confirmation that we're doing the right thing, and we're doing it the right way, in a way that's super sustainable for us. Because like, dude, I could do this fucking forever, especially with you.
Yeah. 100%, man. It's gonna be, we're like, I feel like already slowly becoming like the grandfathers of the space, who like, we're like, let us tell you about the history and the early days. And I feel like this is another one, man. We're gonna look back, the Async, when Async came through the WIP, they were like legendary guests, right? Like it was always a big WIP. People would come out, they would always have like a gang of like really incredible artists with them, presenting whatever it was that week and everything. And now that's like, that's in our archives, and it's all kind of nuts, man. But the WIP lives on, man, and in incredible form.
Indeed, man. And shout out to Trislit too, part of that history, part of building. And we gotta get that dude back on to chat with, like we did back in the day. We keep saying this, so we got to do this maybe next week after this epic WIP this Thursday as a recap, for old time's sake.
Yeah, he must attend and do tricks. That's the contingency. Trislit tricks for treats. Oh my god. It's gonna be fun tomorrow. Come hang out.
There we go. All right, dude. Well, I'll see you tomorrow in the metaverse.
All right. Later, man.